And finally, we are live. Please excuse me, fight fans. I'm a little bit late on the show, but please bear with me. I am a noob at this. Thanks for coming through to episode 10 of the Fight Culture podcast. Usually, I'm joined by my co host, Jay Fonzarelli. Unfortunately, he is feeling under the weather this evening. So you're stuck with me, Jay Medina, as your host, one and only. A solo episode. And you know what? I'm so nervous, but I know that that's exactly why the show is going to be killer. So let's get right into it because last week, Fonz and I both chose to pick three fights, and unfortunately, at UFC Stockholm, one of those fights was canceled, and that was Volkan Ozdemir versus Ilir Latifi. Unfortunate, it is what it is. It was because Ilir Latifi suffered a back injury. I think it was the day of the fight, which sucks, but it is what it is. Therefore, we're left with two fights that me and Fonz picked, and we didn't do too well. I wish Fonz was here so I could rub his nose in it a little bit, but I can't really claim too much bragging rights. But so Jimmy Manuwa versus Alexander Rakic. Uh, First of all, we have to talk about that knockout because this guy hit him with a left high kick, Rakic to Manuel, that is, that completely put his lights out. When he went down, he was completely stiff. He didn't wake up for a long, long time. He was down on the canvas for many minutes, and I wish him well. I hope he's okay. But yeah, hell of a knockout. And I'm happy to say that I called that. Fonz chose Manuwa. I chose Rakic by decision. So take that, Fonz. I win yet again. But that's okay because we still have one more fight. Maybe you redeemed yourself, Fonz. Okay, so I have the receipts right here. I picked Alexander Gustafsson by first round KO, and you picked Gus by decision. Now, we were both wrong because obviously Anthony Smith, the guy who Fonz really, really hates, came through, when Fonz least expected him to, and he actually finished Alexander Gustafsson in the fourth round. And we talked about this last week where Alexander Gustafsson said, hey, if I can't beat this Anthony Smith character, then I might as well hang him up. And he said that he would retire if he did lose to Anthony Smith. And you know what? He did. And retire he did because right immediately after the gloves came off, after the fight was over, the gloves came off and he told the Stockholm crowd, it happened again. I lost in my home and the show is over. And he said the show is over and he threw the gloves down on the canvas. And for those who aren't very savvy in octagon traditions, that symbols a retirement. The show's over, like he said. And I wish him well. It sucks that it had to end like that on a loss. It sucks that, Gustafsson is forever the bridesmaid, never the bride. But that's the fate of a lot of fighters. There can only be one greatest ever. There can only be one champion. And he came close many times. Some say he beat Daniel Cormier in their fight. Some say he beat John Jones in their first fight. But he was never able to capture that gold. And, I just hope that he's happy with the decision he's made and can move on with his life and hopefully not come crawling back to the sport in, I don't know, a couple years because he needs money, right? So well wishes to him. And I want to touch on a couple other things that happened on that card because there was some really fun knockouts and some really fun performances. We had another person retire off of that card named Nick Hine. I don't know if you guys watched the Frank Camacho Nick Hine fight, but that actually, in my opinion, was fight of the night. Camacho tore him apart with body kicks and just really went at him. And eventually in the third round, it didn't seem like it was affecting him much. But in the second and third rounds, you could tell that they were really starting to mount up. And heck, Frank Camacho, really took him down at the end, and he wasn't able to sustain the damage, and he was forced to essentially just absorb damage until the referee saved him. And later after the fight that night, Nick Hine did announce his retirement. So again, wish him well. Not a guy who, probably many of you guys know, but fought in the UFC, I think 6 times. But yeah, wishing him well in his retirement. Moving forward though, because I don't want to waste too much time on UFC Stockholm. I want to at least just mention a couple of news that are coming up. A couple things that happened this week. Firstly, Jessica Andrade, your new strawweight champion, was carjacked in Brazil, which was crazy to me. I saw that happen on ESPN, and I couldn't believe that. I mean, I could because it is Brazil, but still, that sucks. It's super unfortunate that had to happen to her. But she was unharmed. She and her wife were unharmed, and everything turned out, all's well that ends well, I guess. And she was able to recover her vehicle recently, so good for her. Sucks that she had to go through that, but it is what it is. Honestly, Brazil is not the safest place to live. Judging by what I've read. But good luck to her. Another legend here that makes me sad, but also it's bittersweet to see that he's retiring. Bittersweet because obviously when you like a fighter, you want to see him fight. And it's coming to an end. You also don't want to see a fighter stick around so long where he's just getting beat up and beat down and obviously doesn't look like he belongs in there anymore. And this kind of was what was happening to this one gentleman by the name of King Mo Lawal, Muhammad Lawal, who, for a time was a very formidable fighter at 205 and even moonlighted at money weight, like he likes to call it, at heavyweight. And a lot of good victories. He's, if I'm not mistaken, he's beaten Jacare, which is a very credible victory. And also he beat Gegard Mousasi, who I hold in very high regard, who I think is the best 85er in the world right now. So those are very credible wins, and won everywhere. He won in Strikeforce, he won in Ryzen, won in Bellator. Everywhere he went, he won. Unfortunate that he was never able to go to the UFC and perform there, but he was being held back through like really bad injuries and staph infections that really hindered his career. But yeah, near the end there, he was just getting beat up and put out, knocked out. I saw him get knocked out by Ryan Bader by a punch that didn't even, look very hard. So big ups to him to recognizing that it's time to hang him up. And I'm definitely going to miss him. Definitely going to miss you, King Mo Lawal. Thank you for all the awesome fights that you put on, and wishing you well going forward, man. I'm going to get to the boxing in a second, but first I want to address one more thing. So Paige Van Zandt, a couple years ago, I think she had a fight with Jessica Rose Clark, and she threw an ill-fated spinning back fist, which broke her arm, and she had to go undergo surgery for it to repair it, and then had to undergo a second surgery to repair damage done from the first surgery, because I guess it wasn't set in place right, or it got infected or something like that. So unfortunately for that, it was 2 surgeries. And she did fight again. She fought in January. If I'm not mistaken, I was there in Brooklyn. She fought and submitted Rachel Ostovich, and but it looks like she's going towards a 3rd surgery on the same arm. I don't know if Paige Van Zandt's ever gonna be right, especially a third surgery within like 18 months on the same arm. That sounds rough. But again, wishing her well, hoping she can get back and resume her career, because she really looked like a up and coming prospect at 115, and she decided to go up a division to 125 pounds. And honestly, I do think that was not a great choice, because those girls at 25 are much better than the girls at 115, much bigger, much stronger. And honestly, the champion at 125 is Valentina, and I don't see anybody beating her anytime soon, including this Saturday. But we're definitely going to get to that in a little bit. Before we go into UFC 238, because that's really what we're all here for, right? We have to talk about Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr. So Anthony Joshua, for those who don't know, was a unified heavyweight champion in boxing, had 3 out of the 4 major belts, 3, the other one being held by Deontay Wilder. And Joshua, man, he was coming into this. This is his first fight on American soil. He came into my city, New York City, fighting in the most famous arena on the planet, Madison Square Garden, beautiful place. And he thought this was Britain. He thought that I don't know what he was thinking. Honestly, maybe perhaps he wasn't, because Andy Ruiz was a replacement opponent, and in fact, he was a replacement for a replacement. Because firstly, Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight a fellow New Yorker in Jarrell Big Baby Miller. And Jarrell Big Baby Miller ended up failing 3 drug tests, one for EPO, the other for HGH, and the other for something that's just letters and numbers that I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. It's like G15, 16 or something like that. So yeah, that guy got kicked off the card. Then they offered, what's his name? Ortiz? Louis King Kong Ortiz. They offered him the fight. And I think that he asked for too much money. I think they were offering him 5 and he wanted 10. And, that fell through. He's actually going to rematch Deontay Wilder coming up. So they settled on Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, who is Andy Ruiz Jr.? I don't know. I had never heard of him until Saturday night. Much like I'm sure many of you. But looking at his record, very credible. 32-1. Now 33-1. Only lost to Joseph Parker, who's another very credible heavyweight, former champ. So yeah, not some sort of pushover. Also, he had over 100 amateur fights, having only lost 1. So somebody with a lot of experience that perhaps me and the general public underestimated, and obviously Anthony Joshua underestimated, because Anthony Joshua looked listless in this fight. He did not look like he came to fight. He reminded me a lot of Roy McDonald in his fight against Gegard Mousasi, where it just looked like he didn't even want to be out there. And in the 3rd round, he knocked down Ruiz, and it looked like it was the beginning of the end, because Joshua was supposed to run through this guy, but alas, did not happen. Andy Ruiz got back up and ended up knocking down Joshua 2 more times in the same round, twice, and then proceeded for the next couple rounds, honestly, to outbox Anthony Joshua, to be honest with you, because I was scoring those rounds and I was giving him most of these rounds. But come the 7th round, things, Joshua seemed to maybe get a little bit more aggressive, and Andy Ruiz was just not having any of it. He dropped Anthony Joshua. And respect to Joshua, he showed the heart of a champion. He got back up and he was ready to go. But then shortly thereafter, he got knocked down again. And this time, the referee stopped the fight. They went to the corner. Joshua went to the corner, and he turned his back to the ref, looking at his corners to see what the hell they were telling him, which was, you don't do that. That's a sign of quitting, firstly. And the referee asked him, dude, do you want to keep fighting? And you see Anthony Joshua say, yeah. But then also at the same time, he stopped the fight shortly thereafter. And I was confused, and Anthony Joshua looked confused. But upon review of the replay, I look at it, and Anthony Joshua said yeah when he was asked a question. And then the referee kind of motions to him to walk forward to show him that, yeah, he wants to fight and to continue the fight. And Anthony Joshua just held on to the ropes. Anthony Joshua did not want to keep boxing. He didn't. I think he was maybe looking for somebody to quit for him. He didn't, because no fighter wants to quit. But he did quit. And the referee stopped the fight, and we have a new unified champion in Andy Ruiz. And this right here, and you know what? Congratulations to Ruiz. That's awesome. First heavyweight Mexican champion. As a Hispanic person myself, I take a lot of great pride in that. But this is exactly why boxing stinks sometimes, and exactly why MMA is kind of like a haven for old, jaded boxing fans. Because in MMA and the UFC, you get the matchups you want. Usually, not every time, but usually, Dana makes that shit happen. There's 2 fights that you really want to see happen. They get done. The best fight the best. You don't see a champion like Anthony Joshua fighting some unranked unknown like Ruiz Jr. You fight the number 1 guy. That's why it's so hard to stay champion in UFC, and why so many fighters like Rose Namajunas, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, after they lose the belt, they're like, whew, that's a weight off my shoulders, because You know how hard it is to train your ass off day in, day out, every year to fight the very best person in the world besides yourself? You're fighting the very best person every time. And that's why it's hard to stay champ. And that's why staying champ is so mentally taxing in MMA. But yeah, boxing's going to box. And they ruined Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, ruined it, because who cares now if Deontay Wilder knocks out Anthony Joshua? We just saw a guy who looks like your gardener knock out Anthony Joshua. So how impressive is it really? Like, really what you want to do is crack the seal, be the first one. And what's left now? What's left now? Anthony Joshua now has to win like 10 fights in a row to make this fight relevant again. And I don't know, with that glass jaw, because he does look chinny. With that glass jaw, I don't know if that's doable for him. So yeah, thanks boxing. Thanks what's his name? Eddie Hearn and all those people who managed Joshua, because we wanted to see this Deontay Wilder fight. And we wanted to see you fight Tyson Fury. And you just flushed that all down the toilet. You lost to a guy who looks like a gardener. And now the consensus best two heavyweights in the world are Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And you're left out on the outside looking in. So congratulations, Joshua. You played yourself. Okay, now to the meat of the show. Pause. We're going to talk UFC 238. There's a lot of really good fights here. If you've been skipping a fight card here and there, left or right, this is not the one to skip. This fight card is stacked from the bottom all the way up to the fact where there's a number one contenders fight for the flyweight title in the women's division on the prelims. Okay. So definitely have to keep an eye out on this. Not for the 125, for the 115. I apologize. So there's definitely some of these fights here that I'm interested in and I'm going to pick. And since Fonz is not here, I'm going to do him the kindness of picking the fights for him and picking the fighters that I know he would pick. Okay. Hey, there goes Fonz right there, the grounded gamer. What's going on, buddy? Just going over this fight card here. I'm going to pick more fights than we usually do, just because, you know, I'm by myself, and also it's a stacked card. So we're going to start here with Alexa Grasso, number 13 at strawweight, versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. A quick turnaround for Karolina. Me and Fonz, we've been talking about Karolina recently, and I said that she'd be fighting. Oh, so Fonz is back. Okay. Fonz is here. I don't know how to invite people, to be quite honest with you. Oh, here we go. Is it this here at the bottom? Oh man, this is not good radio. Is it where it says links here at the bottom? Help me out, Fonz. Top of the Hangouts link. Okay. So send what it says up here to you. I got you, fam. So I'm going to be sending it to you. Hopefully you can join us very quickly. I'm glad you're feeling better. It's awesome. Or did you just come and rescue me because you felt like I was drowning? Such a gentleman. Such a gentleman. Okay, so while we wait for Fonz, let me continue to introduce the fight. Like I said, Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Alexa Grasso. Karolina Kowalkiewicz had a bit of a crossroads. You know, has been up and down in her career lately, getting definitely an easier opponent this time around. And in Alexa Grasso, looking forward to this fight because this is going to tell us a lot. Because honestly, if Karolina loses this fight, she might retire. That being said, let me make my pick. I'm going to go with Karolina Kowalkiewicz here because her back's against the wall, and she has to win this fight. She absolutely has to win this fight. And Alexa Grasso is a beatable opponent. Alexa Grasso comes from the Lobo gym in Mexico, and they have a couple credible fighters, including herself and Irene Aldana, who fights at 135 in the UFC. But for the most part, I don't quite believe in her because I don't believe in her gym. I don't believe in them because they box, and it seems like all they do is box. Um, they don't look very versatile. They look very one note. Their boxing is crisp, but they have decent takedown defense. But if you take them down, they don't do much. And in terms of jujitsu, they can't even roll with me. So I'm definitely gonna pick Carolina. Fonz, you're here. What's up? Say what up. Say what's up to the people. Fonz? Oh, you were here. You're gone now. Hopefully you can get back in here ASAP. Um, but yeah, definitely got to go with Carolina here. The wrestling is not up to par. The grappling is not up to par on their side, and I got to pick Carolina's Muay Thai over Alexa Grasso's boxing. What do you think, Fonz?
Um, okay, I'm a big fan of both these girls actually. Alexa Grasso is great, man. I watched her in Invicta for a few years. I think she's been around for like what 4 years now. So
In the
somewhere.
UFC, only about 2 years.
No. But I'm talking about in Invicta
Yeah,
and
yeah, about three,
all
4 years. Yeah.
yeah. I like her too. But I think when it comes to well-roundedness, I have to go with Carolina as well. Um, I and I hate to say that because I really like Grasso as well. I think Grasso is the younger of the fighter too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Grasso's
Don't
only like
sleep on her.
22.
I'll say don't sleep on her. Don't sleep on her. But I'm gonna go with Carolina. And I'm gonna go decision.
Okay. I'm also gonna pick Carolina by decision because I mean you don't get a lot of finishes in at a women's strawweight. So let
No.
me
And by the way, I didn't come in because you were doing bad. No, you're doing a great job, man. Real quick before you move on, I just want to say something really fast about the Anthony Joshua fight.
Okay, yeah, yeah. You know what? Spit your takes on, anything I may have gone over.
I
Go ahead,
I
bro. You have the floor.
I think you did very well in what you were saying about it and everything. But for me, I felt like Joshua just completely underestimated Ruiz. Uh,
Absolutely.
Completely, and I think that's what it comes down to. I think he thought he was gonna beat this big man, and when I say big, I mean big,
Let's
Ruiz
keep it real, bro. He's fat.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but I gotta give him props. Ruiz has stamina for a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
That man and hands, oh my god.
Very fast.
Um, to me, this is what this fight did. It exposed Joshua. It made me think, wow, what would Wilder have done to this man? He would have killed him.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. I don't think it was all, oh well, Joshua just wasn't in the fight. No, I think he was. I think he just completely underestimated Ruiz, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that with any opponent. In the fight game, that's the rule, man.
Of course, of course. The other
So
guy gets paid too, and the other guy's treating his butt off too.
yeah, definitely. But that's my thoughts on that
Mm-hmm.
situation. I just think he exposed himself though at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So
Also, I think it's also kind of clear that he's chinny. And if
mhm.
you're chinny, you're not gonna last even one round against Deontay Wilder. So,
Yeah.
good luck to him.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get the king on here one day, King David.
Absolutely.
Man, we gotta next time we have a big boxing fight, we gotta get him in here. I love his takes on boxing. The guy's very smart when it comes to the boxing and stuff. Good dude.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. But continue with this card,
Cool,
brother.
cool. Okay, so
So far we have we're both picking Carolina on that card.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I got it written down. And I did beat you last week on the picks. I don't know if you were
I
listening to the
know you
show.
did, bro.
I
I
don't know
know.
if you were listening to the show, but
Yes, yes.
but yeah,
But you know
so
what sucks is Latifi was taken out of the fight, so
yeah,
he didn't get that fight to really get a win or loss. So
whatever. I won on a technicality. A win is a
yeah,
win.
I bet you did. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next fight. Damn, bro, this card is stacked, man.
It's a good card.
Aljamain Sterling, number 3 at bantamweight, versus number 4 at bantamweight, Pedro Munoz. Aljamain obviously coming off that great win from against Jimmy Rivera, and then Pedro Munoz coming off that amazing KO of Cody Garbrandt. What do you think, bro?
Munoz. I'm going Munoz, man, and I think he's going to win it in great fashion here. I think he's going to get a TKO knockout, probably second, third round. Second, I'll go second.
Second round
Even against a great,
TKO.
even against a really good guy in Sterling, bro. Munoz, man, I'm really high on this guy right now. Excuse me for my voice. Like I said, I've been under the weather today, but
Oh, you sound fine, man.
I
I'm so happy you decided to come through, man. That's awesome.
Oh,
Um,
man, that's the thing. If one of us can't make it, I want the other one to step up to the plate, and you did that, brother, and I appreciate that. Because if you ever need the day or whatever, something's going on, we're gonna do this show every week, bro. So
yeah. Like we said, like we told the people, like we told the fight fans, the show is gonna happen every week.
yeah,
So don't worry about that, people. We got your back. And I know next time if I get sick, you got this.
definitely, man.
So okay, so you got Pedro Munoz, and you said by second round TKO,
Yeah, I'll go
or
second
okay,
round.
so second round.
Yeah,
Let's just say KO TKO, same difference.
yeah, same difference.
Um, okay, well,
This is a
I
hard one, bro.
this is a hard one because I love both guys personally,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And I also love both guys, in terms of fighters. I think they both have awesome games. But I do listen. I might be talking with my heart here because Aljamain is a New Yorker, but I'm gonna go with Aljamain Sterling here because I think he's the better grappler. I think he's the longer
Mhm,
kickboxer, and
mhm.
because of the fact that he got absolutely flattened by Marlon Moraes once, right? That he got KTFO'd. I think he's going to be cautious enough to avoid the KO here. So I'm gonna take him by decision. I don't see a finish here, but if there is a finish, I do think it's going to be on the part of Pedro Munoz. So let's shelve that and move on to. Oh man, this is a hell of a fight. I was talking this girl up recently because I told you that she's the female Khabib, and that is Tatiana Suarez at 115. So Tatiana Suarez is fighting Nina Ansaroff of Being Amanda Nunes' girlfriend fame. And I don't see Nina having much for Tatiana. I see Tatiana smothering her with wrestling and perhaps ground and pounding her into submission by the second round. So second round TKO for Tatiana Suarez. What do you think, bro?
I'm gonna go a second round submission for her.
Second round sub. Okay, so you're definitely going with
Yeah, Tatiana.
Tatiana.
Yep, yep.
How do you think it's gonna go? Like
I think she's gonna get her to the ground, maybe take her back, choke her out.
I gotcha. She's definitely gonna get some takedowns on her. Because I mean that's what she does.
Yep.
Hang on, let me write that down. There
Now,
we go. Now, were you gonna say something, bro?
I was gonna say because we were talking about it earlier about we like both of these fighters with the last fight pick that we just did with Sterling and what's his name, Munoz. Same thing with Grasso and Carolina for me.
Mm-hmm.
This card is just full of fights where I'm torn. I'm torn, bro, because I
Mm-hmm.
like all these fighters, man, and they're fighting each other, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's
That
full.
that's what sucks about MMA sometimes, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you wanna speak with your heart because you may like one over the other, but then it's like, well, the other guy has a better skill set, so you're like, "What do I do here?" And, here's the thing, though. Here's the one thing that I think that sometimes I do that's terrible, is that I do speak with my heart, and I pick with my heart. And in this game between you and I, brother, I gotta start picking with, the skill sets here. I gotta start doing that because I can't afford to be losing every week.
Listen, man, there haven't even been any stakes involved yet, but
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
soon we're gonna come up with some sort of bet
Yeah.
some soon. It's not going to be nothing crazy, but soon. We have to, So there's some
Yeah,
stakes involved here. So you can definitely start picking with your head and not your heart. And
exactly.
same here, same here. Because I do that sometimes as well.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to the main card. To be quite honest with you, I despise heavyweight MMA, so I'm gonna skip that first card fight there on
Yeah.
on the main card because I don't like seeing
Right
fat guys fight. They get gassed after 30 seconds, and
right now, Cognito is somewhere just putting his face palming right now because
well,
he likes the heavyweight division. Like, we talk about this, and it's the division that I despise most in the
yeah,
UFC. It's just, to me, there is just a very small pool of fighters that are even decent in that
hmm
division, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true,
it's
bro.
absolutely true. I mean, the thing is, the way that I've come to see it is the bigger you are in MMA, the less skilled you are, right? You see the skills get lower and lower, or rather increase the lower you get in weight class. Like 205ers are more skilled than heavyweights, 185ers are more skilled than the 205ers, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So the smaller the weight class, at least for me, that's
Yeah.
what I want to watch, because those are the real guys with the real skills. So
Ooh.
like these heavyweight guys are like football rejects, or like for example, Tai Tuivasa. He's a what's that? Rugby. He's a rugby reject. He used to play rugby. So it's like, this is heavyweight MMA is what failed athletes from other sports end up doing.
Damn,
So
you're right, bro. Because we've got a lot of ex-NFL dudes, guys didn't really make the cut. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, bro.
absolutely, bro. You have athleticism and you got to make some money, so you go fight. But anyway, moving on, because again, screw heavyweight. Jimmy Rivera, which is crazy, because how is Jimmy Rivera getting a main card slot when Aljamain, beat him up just a few months ago, and he's on the prelims? Whatever, not my business. But Jimmy Rivera versus Piotr No Mercy Yan. If you couldn't tell, he's a Russian fella.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey man, you do not disrespect Piotr Yan like that. Again, okay, so I'm just gonna pick first real quick, because I don't have much to add on this. Peter Yan is going to starch Jimmy Rivera within 2 rounds, because Jimmy Rivera is honestly overhyped. His skill is overblown, and he's not very good, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. And Peter Yan is a stone cold Terminator killer. What do you got?
Let me ask you something. Who has Peter Yan fought last? Like who's he fought?
Okay, hold on. I got the numbers here. You know what? I don't got the numbers here. I don't.
Okay. So I just looked it up real quick.
No, I do. He beat Dodson.
Okay, Dodson is legit, dude.
He's a credible opponent, not the best opponent, but a credible opponent.
Okay, so you're looking at a 7-fight win streak for Yan. And the guy seems to have some hands, man.
Dude, his boxing is incredible. That's what he's good at.
Yeah, and the fact that your boy got starched against Sterling.
And before that, Moraes.
I'm gonna go with Yan as well.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the guy who nobody knows, right?
Hey man, those be the guys who surprise you, all right?
Yeah.
How are you gonna take them?
I'm gonna go KO. Maybe second round.
And you know what? Now that I think about this, it pains me to pick Peter Yan. Pains me, because Jimmy Rivera, not only is he a fellow New Yorker, but he's a fellow Puerto Rican. But hey man, I gotta pick with my head. So that's out of the way. Again, it hurts my heart to pick against you, Jimmy, but it is what it is.
You're picking smart.
Exactly. So, this is the people's main event. This is my main event. I know this is your main event. It's a shame that this fight is not 5 rounds. Okay, so we've got the dad, the father, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus, in my opinion, the greatest 155er to ever do it, Tony Ferguson. What do you think, Fonz?
Let's be honest here. We're looking at 2 guys that are on top of their division. We're looking at the fight of this card, the fight that everybody's going to tune into this card for. The fact that it is not a 5-round fight, and the fact that it is not the headliner, makes no sense to me at all.
It's a joke.
Freaking sense. I don't know what the UFC is doing here, but this is the type of card this is the fight you put on the top headliner on some other card that needs help or something, because this will sell the fight regardless. This will sell it. I don't know why they're putting it underneath Shevchenko, Moraes and Cejudo. They're great fighters. Don't get me wrong, but this is the fight everybody's tuning into for. That's it, man. UFC 238 is Donald Cerrone versus Tony Ferguson, bro. Anybody who says differently is lying. This is why we're watching this. And to be honest, these two guys, it breaks my heart because I love them both.
Again, yeah,
amazing. They're amazing fighters. But I'm gonna go with skill set here over heart, and I'm gonna go Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson's going to get this fight. I think he's going to beat Donald Cerrone, and it's not going to go to a decision. I think he's going to beat him. I'm going to pick a bunch of second rounds in this card. I'm going to go second round. I think he's either going to TKO. I got to pick one. I'll go with submission. I think
Wow.
he'll get him down, hurt him, touch him, and then he's going to submit him.
Well, it's going to be hard for us to defeat each other this week because you know what? I had just written this down before you said it. I pick Tony Ferguson by second round sub. It's the same thing that you said. Donald Cerrone, hell of a fighter. Love him. Been on a tear ever since he became a father. Tony Ferguson, again, the best to fucking do it. And I am a little skeptical of Tony because, you know, he really was just tearing down his own house just a couple months ago. However, I do truly think that the only place where Tony Ferguson feels at home is inside that cage.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's going to be nothing on his mind other than destroying the other guy on the other side. And unfortunately, this time around, that's Donald Cerrone. And you know what? Before we move on to the next fight, I have to just say the same thing that you said, because this is all Endeavor's doing. You know, Endeavor, the company who bought the UFC, fight fans, if you guys forgot, they've been in charge since 2016. And ever since 2016, they have not done a single pay-per-view. Okay, you know what? I take it back. Other than Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 2, they have not done a single pay-per-view that did not feature a title fight this entire time. It's because of them that this epidemic of interim title bouts continues to happen. That's why we had a card not too long ago that was headlined by 2 interim title bouts, because they're obsessed with putting a title bout at the top of the card instead of what the people actually want. Because again, respect to Valentina and Jessica Eye, much respect to Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes, which should be the co-main event to this fight, because this is the fight. And you and I and the fans everywhere are being robbed of 10 extra minutes of just MMA glory. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's a damn shame. And Endeavor needs to get their shit together, because this is clearly the main event.
And what people need to understand about that too, some people might be confused by Endeavor, because you may have heard the term thrown around, or the abbreviation WME. That's who bought the UFC, and that's shortened for William Morris Endeavor. It owns this, and it's actually owned by a lot of different celebrities, to be honest, because they all are part of this company. And I believe even man, what's his name? Marky Mark, dude. From
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg owns a lot of the UFC now because of this acquisition by WME. But yeah, that said, you're 100% right. This is the main event here. It blows my mind, bro. I don't understand what the UFC's been thinking, you know, in a lot of their fight cards lately. Of course, it's been pushed and driven by money, but at the same time, like, there's so many fights that should be going on. This is one of them that I get, and it makes sense, but damn it, this is a 5-rounder right here. And what if it plays out like this? And this would be what would piss me off. Let's say this fight goes the distance, and it has been an amazing fight, and it was so close. That would piss me off, bro.
100%.
Because if there wasn't an extra 1 or 2 rounds there, then it's like we don't really have a clear winner. And that could happen here, bro. Like, we could be wrong, and this fight could be epic on both accounts, and they could go to the decision, and one could barely squeak out a win or even a draw. I mean, it's
oh my God, if this is a draw, oh my, don't even say that, Fonz.
If it became a draw, I would be so pissed, bro. Oh man, I'd be sending hate mail to the UFC.
There's nothing more dissatisfying in a fight than a draw. I hate draws.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, especially if it was 3 rounds. Yeah, let's stay away from that. But yeah, screw you, WME, IMG. Screw you, Endeavor. Screw you, Marky Mark. Moving on to the co-main event. We got Jessica Eye versus Valentina Shevchenko. Can you really hear the enthusiasm in my voice?
Okay, Shevchenko all the way. I don't even. Jessica Eye has no shot. No shot.
Okay, so
I'm very, very. Listen to me, people. No shot. 0. Shevchenko is going to go right through her.
Okay. I want us to run through this because this fight does not deserve our attention because you know what? As you just wait, hold on. Give us your official pick.
Uh, Shevchenko by TKO, probably at most. I'll let it go to the second. It's two rounds. Everything for me is like second round.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to be a broken record, but I don't see this. I don't see Jessica. I've watched her fights over the years. I don't think she should even be fighting Valentina.
It's a mismatch, but you know what? She's the number one contender. She did earn this. It's just that the division is new. The division is new, and honestly, the division was started for Shevchenko. So much like 45 was started for Cyborg. So yeah, it's it is what it is. It's kind of like early Ronda Rousey where she was fighting like Betch Kohea and these people who are definitely not qualified just because the division was so young. But unlike Ronda Rousey, I don't see the rest of the division catching up to Valentina. I think she stays champ for a very long time, and she's going to win this fight by third round TKO. And I'm only giving Jessica Ai 2 rounds of survival because I know how tough she is. She's a very tough woman. So yeah, third round TKO. Moving on. I don't ever want to talk about this fight again. The main event. This is actually a great fight. I don't want it to make it sound like it's not a great fight because we want Ferguson and Cerrone as the main event, because this is a great fight.
It is.
We got Magic, Marlon Moraes, the number one contender at bantamweight, fighting the Messenger. Did you know he has a gold medal? Henry Cejudo, the 125-pound champion.
What is this medal for?
He has a gold medal in wrestling. In the Olympics, yes. He has an Olympic gold medal in wrestling. I don't know if you know. I don't know because he rarely mentions it. He doesn't talk about it. He's shy about it. He's embarrassed. But he does have what?
No, I'm just laughing, bro. You said he's embarrassed.
He's embarrassed. He doesn't want to bring up okay, that's obviously a joke, fight fans. Henry Cejudo will mention to you that he has a gold medal every freaking chance he gets, and it's annoying as hell. I'm sick of him. But anyway, he is a great fighter, so it is what it is. So yeah, the Messenger, Henry Cejudo, the flyweight champ, the guy who dethroned Demetrius Johnson, the guy who cut the head off the snake live. I was there. I saw it. Broke my heart. He's fighting Magic Marlon Moraes. What do you think? Give us your analysis.
Sir, I did not think he beat the champ. I think he fought the champ valiantly.
Agreed.
But DJ is still my champ, bro.
I agree.
I'm going to go with Moraes in this fight. And I'll tell you why. I've been watching Marlon Moraes for quite some time before he ever came to the UFC. The guy is a beast. He's a stud, bro. I think he's more well-rounded than Cejudo, to be honest. I think he's got better striking. He probably doesn't have the wrestling. I'll give the wrestling to Cejudo because of that gold medal.
He does have it.
But he does have it. And Moraes is a top-notch level fighter. If this is your first fight that you've ever seen Moraes in, I don't know why it would be, but if it is, you're in for a treat in this fight. He just goes nonstop. The guy is just amazing to watch. I'm going to say that he's going to beat Cejudo, and he's going to beat him soundly, bro. And I'm going to go with the submission win in the fourth.
That's a. You know what? I'm glad you chose that because
you're going to choose.
I'm looking at our picks, and you and I made every pick the same.
Yeah.
Except for you took Munoz and I took Sterling. So that's the fight that's going to swing things. So I'm picking Moraes too.
You got to, bro. Like the dude is a beast, bro.
Yeah, and it's not because I don't like Henry Cejudo. I am trying to pick with my head and not my heart. But it's not easy coming up 10 pounds and fighting guys that are, the 10 pounds sounds like it's not a lot, but it is. 10 pounds was the difference between Demetrius Johnson losing to Dominic Cruz and winning a title and defending it 11 times. That was the difference. The difference was 10 pounds. So,
but let's be real. Cejudo is a stocky boy.
Yeah,
he's not a light guy anyway.
He probably should be fighting at 35.
He should be.
Yeah. And okay, by the way, I'm picking Moraes by first round KO. I'm expecting him to blow the doors off of Henry Cejudo. But before we move on from that, because that is the last of our stuff, but I do want to ask this because this is relevant. Do you think that Henry Cejudo becoming champ here again? We didn't even mention that because it's just so old now.
Mhm.
A chance to become champ here. Do you think that if he wins this fight, that it spells the end for the flyweights?
Yes. I think Dana is looking for any reason at all to get rid of the flyweights. He has been for some time now. He denies it, but we see it. I think it's gone. I think it's gone by next year. It's done, completely gone.
What if he loses?
It's still gone. I think
Oh
it's gone
yeah,
next year. I think he's going to have everybody move up to the 135 division or cut him.
yeah. I mean, that's what they've been doing. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think if he loses, it'll delay the
I just want
shutting down of the division.
I just want to run this by you, by the way, because I'm
Yeah.
looking at Cejudo's record, and
Mhm.
he's lost to guys like Sergio Pettis.
No, Cejudo beat Pettis.
I mean, not Sergio Pettis, sorry.
He only lost to
Joseph
DJ, and he
Benavidez.
lost to Benavidez.
Joseph Benavidez.
Hey, Joe Benavidez is amazing.
He's good. He's good. But let me remind you, Joseph Benavidez, I used to call him short arms. The guy's got the shortest arms in the division. And I don't know, man. Like
I will say this about that fight. That fight was razor thin, and you could either call it a draw or you could call it a win for either guy because that fight was razor thin. Huh?
Yeah, it was a split.
And a lot of guys think that Henry won. Like a lot of guys lean that way. So, just to mention that at least. Because the only time I've ever seen him definitively lose was against DJ when he got crushed.
Yeah. But aside from TJ and DJ, he hasn't really fought many other fighters of note. Everybody else is pretty
Yeah, his great wins are not so great.
Yeah, Formiga and Kimura, stuff like it's people that you don't even really know.
Like he beat Sergio Pettis, and anybody who can wrestle can beat Sergio Pettis. And he beat Wilson Hayes, who is not even with the UFC anymore. He got cut because he's washed. And he didn't even win the fight against Demetrius Johnson. We both agree on that. And the TJ Dillashaw thing was fluky, and honestly, I thought it was an early stoppage. So it is what it. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts surrounding Henry Cejudo's record. Hey, now that you mention it,
let's not say that Cejudo is a bad fighter.
No, of course not. Of course not.
He's a great fighter. The guy's got a gold medal. Again, in case you guys didn't hear earlier, he's got a gold medal in wrestling, and the guy is a great fighter. But I just think Moraes is better. At the end of the day, I think Moraes is way better. And if Moraes loses this fight, then that means Henry Cejudo has gotten really freaking good, and Henry Cejudo deserves to be that champ. He deserves to be where he's at. If he beats Moraes, I have no question about Henry Cejudo.
What if it's super fluky again, though?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I don't think it will be. But let's say he starches Moraes, beats him. I won't question the guy ever again.
I agree. Same here. Listen, if you can freaking win 2 belts, even if I don't agree with the decision, if you can win 2 belts in the UFC against the best guys in the world, who am I to say anything about you?
Exactly.
So yeah, Henry Cejudo, we both got. Oh wait, no, we both picked Marlon Moraes. So yeah, hopefully we have new.
Okay, so you're picking early though.
I'm picking first round KO. Yeah.
Damn.
You got him by fourth round sub. Yeah. I got it written down. Trust me, I need these receipts, sir. All right. So listen, Fonz, that's all I've got for you this week. I'm so happy that you came by. Anybody that came by, thank you for coming by and listening to us two knuckleheads talk fighting. Since I started us off, why don't you close this out, buddy?
Okay, well, wasn't ready, but I'll go ahead and say that I appreciate you guys being here. And if you want to listen to this later, please listen and then share it out. Share it to all your friends. Tweet it out. We want to grow this channel, grow this podcast, and maybe have some fighters come on at some point. But we need to grow. We need to grow first. And we just love discussing fight talk with you guys and mixed martial arts. And sometimes we dabble in boxing at times on the big fights, but mainly it's a mixed martial arts channel. We love talking fights here, me and Meds, and we appreciate you guys coming out. And you can call us by voicemail. You can call us at 747-FIGHT-ME. And the number is, let me get it out here, 747-344 4863. Just give us a call and leave a message, and we'll get back to you live on the show every Monday at 6:30 p.m. right here on the Fight Culture Podcast. That's all I got for you.
Well, that's Jay Fonzarelli. I'm Jay Medina, and this has been episode 10 of Fight Culture.